As they're eating, Kohina remarks that Inugami is in his female form again, and he tells her that his sex hasn't been settled yet, so he can take his male form or even his animal form if she wishes, but Kokkuri says they have a one-child policy in this household and tells him to go back to his den, but Inugami tells Kokkuri that he can become a woman as well if it frustrates him so much, but he answers that he won't become a woman before Shigaraki enters the room, surprised to find a girl in their home. He immediately says she's a real beauty and starts bothering her, asking Fox why he has been hiding her all this time. Kohina says he'll turn into a real man soon, but Shigaraki tells them that it doesn't matter because the person in front of him is a beautiful woman. This is what happens when a country is going through population problems. Jimiko, a young girl at Kohina's school, tries to get Kohina's attention by placing flower vases on her chair every day, but when Kohina doesn't notice them, Jimiko becomes furious and accuses her of bullying. Kohina remembers Jimiko from a year ago when she disciplined her, noticing that Jimiko was a loner like herself, which is why she wants to be friends with her. Jimiko continues to use different flowers to get Kohina's attention, leaving signs, but Kohina always manages to miss them completely. The next day, they learn about a new transfer student coming to the school, so Kohina promises not to change her reaction, but is surprised when Kokkuri is revealed as the transfer student. Kokkuri explains to Kohina that he enrolled in school to help her make friends. However, Kohina points out that since his arrival, the gap between her and her classmates has only gotten bigger. One morning, when Kohina wakes up, she notices ghosts floating in her house. Since this is a strange ability, Kokkuri warns her not to go near them and never to make eye contact. Following these instructions, Kohina decides to help one of the ghosts, which seems slightly injured, but Kokkuri sends it away when he sees her getting closer to it, but the Cyclops soon returns. Shigaraki notices it when it bites Kohina on her hand, tasting her blood, so he decides to take it away. However, because she is determined, she bribes Shigaraki and promises to keep the secret from Kokkuri. They get along fine until Kohina falls, and the Cyclops starts licking her blood. Seeing that it has developed a taste for her blood, Shigaraki warns her not to spend much time with it and takes her away. Later that night, while she is sleeping, the Cyclops sneaks into her room, getting ready to drink her blood. However, Shigaraki, anticipating its move, soon appears and kills it. Unfortunately, the Cyclops curses him as it dies, injuring his face. Since children shouldn't be able to see ghosts, he takes away Kohina's ability to see them, and when she wakes up, she tells everyone she cannot see any of them, which relieves Kokkuri a bit. Outside, she reveals to Shigaraki that she had planned to eat the Cyclops, making him worry about her mental health. Later, Inugami is drinking coffee when Kokkuri suddenly arrives since he's attracted to the smell, but he declares that he absolutely hates him, so Kokkuri asks why, since he feeds him and is basically his owner, and why he hates him, wondering if he did something wrong. Inugami asks him to not complain when he tells him and opens a book to read out the 100,005,000 reasons why he hates him. Bros created an entire Wikipedia library just to dunk on Kokkuri. Shocked, Kokkuri tells him to keep it short, so he begins listing off the negatives and finally declares that he just fundamentally hates him because he's not Kohina. Kokkuri angrily says that means he hates everything in the world, but Inugami says if Kohina likes him, he can still learn to like things a bit, and goes to make some new coffee for himself. Kokkuri and Kohina are on their way home when they run into a young girl who immediately falls in love with Kokkuri and starts following him everywhere, making him feel embarrassed. He eventually confronts her, and she explains that she can't help but fall in love with him at first sight. Kokkuri waits for a confession, but instead, she points to Kohina, whom she thinks is a doll. Kokkuri is shocked by the misunderstanding and even more confused when she says he isn't handsome at all. Tama, the cat god in the form of a human girl, has a doll obsession and loves collecting dolls, so she starts doing odd things to Kohina, prompting Kokkuri to explain that Kohina is a human, not a doll. However, Kohina complicates matters by repeatedly insisting that she is a doll. They start fighting over who gets to keep Kohina, and she defends Kokkuri by saying he is handsome, which impresses him. Then she undermines it by saying it's because of his backstory, which he always brags about. As they keep arguing, Inugami and Shigaraki arrive, and Inugami joins the fight. To prove she can care for Kohina, Tama shows her two dolls, creeping Kokkuri out. After Tama leaves and things settle down, Kokkuri is surprised that Kohina isn't saying anything or moving, so Inugami explains that she is just training to be a shoebill, which is a bird that never moves. But Kokkuri is still skeptical. Later, Shigaraki brings her favorite meal, noodles, but she still doesn't react, so they decide to check on her properly. They soon realize they have been tricked by Tama and set out to free Kohina, while Tama calls Kohina by a different name in her cafe and tries to convince her that she is her master. Outside the cafe, the others try to enter but are blocked by a barrier, so they try searching for solutions online, but find nothing helpful as Tama dresses Kohina like a doll, and Kohina starts to enjoy being with her. However, Tama's demands become harsh, and she even bans Kohina from eating cup noodles, making her angry, so Kohina manages to trick her, defeats her, and rejoins the others outside, after which they all head home. Kokkuri enters an abandoned room that was once a store and finds a mysterious box with a warning not to open it, but he opens it out of curiosity and suddenly transforms into a woman. Seeing the paper inside, he turns it to ashes, realizing it was just a prank, and thinks about how to hide from others. Much to his annoyance, Kohina peeks in and discovers his transformation, thinking he looks cute. When he asks her opinion, she criticizes him and advises him to seek help from others. However, since Shigaraki is a huge pervert, Kokkuri decides against it. Things get worse when Inugami and Shigaraki enter the room, and Shigaraki instantly falls in love with him. To win Kokkuri's love, Shigaraki promises to start working hard to provide for them. Kokkuri asks for their help in changing back, and Shigaraki remarks the only way is through kissing, like the story of the princess and the frog, further enraging Kokkuri. This poor man has been going through it recently. Kokkuri continues searching for ways to enjoy his time like he used to, and even after trying to break the curse for 3 days, Kokkuri isn't able to find a cure for his transformation and is forced to spend time as a woman. After taking a bath, Shigaraki questions him about all the female items he uses. He initially denies using anything, but soon reveals that he has been trying them out since the day he transformed. The next morning, he is enjoying himself when Shigaraki tells him about winning the lottery and invites him to a hot spring. Not knowing what's going to happen, he falls for Shigaraki's plan and agrees to go with him. Kohina immediately warns him, but it is too late when he realizes that he used most of the money to buy tickets. Since Shigaraki is secretly planning to take him on a date, he initially declines but then discovers that Kohina and Inugami are also heading there. When Shigaraki reveals that the hot spring can break curses, Kokkuri has no choice but to join them. Tama also joins them, unable to resist upon hearing about the hot springs. Eager to return to his normal form, Kokkuri immediately starts asking about the hot spring, and Shigaraki assures him they will visit it once they have settled in their room. After getting settled, Kokkuri angrily finds out that Shigaraki doesn't actually know the location of the curse-breaking hot spring, despite his earlier assurance that it is somewhere in the town. As dinner time approaches, they decide to take a bath, and Shigaraki has to use a separate one. While they are bathing, Inugami joins, causing a commotion. Since Inugami's presence is still tolerable as a female, Kohina asks Kokkuri why he doesn't continue living like this, and he makes up a story about men wanting to marry him, causing everyone to look at him with disgust. Meanwhile, Shigaraki is in the men's hot spring, trying to peep into the women's bath but struggling to see through. Unable to restrain himself any longer, he climbs the wall but is disappointed to see that they are all wearing bikinis to protect themselves from him. But he continues enjoying the view of their feminine bodies until they knock him down. Can't really blame the guy since that's still a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. Later, when no one is willing to help him, Kokkuri goes out by himself to find the secret spring. But since he has no idea where it is, Shigaraki catches up with him. On their way, Kokkuri is enraged that Shigaraki is treating him like a woman. After a long search, they reach the hot spring that is supposed to cure Kokkuri's curse. but he furiously finds out that it doesn't work on older women. After returning disappointed, Shigaraki cheers him up by taking him to an entertainment shop while Kohina and Inugami follow them. Since the items Kokkuri is carrying are too heavy, Shigaraki tries to help but fails because Kokkuri thinks he is flirting with him. Kokkuri insists he doesn't need help with something he can handle himself, but Shigaraki suddenly picks him up to carry him. As the two are about to kiss, they suddenly fulfill a condition for breaking the curse and Kokkuri abruptly returns to being a man, causing both of them to vomit in disgust.